All right. Welcome, everybody. As I mentioned, my name's Danny Moss. I'm a professional development staff officer with Alberta Teachers Association. And joining me is Ken Haxtell from Alberta Regional PD Consortia. Good morning, Ken. How are you?
Good morning, everyone.
All right. It's great. We're all working together in this province to support one another. Seeing awesome examples of teachers sharing with each other, different professional development providers sharing with each other, collaborating all for the greater good. So welcome, everyone. It is a bright Monday morning. I think it's warming up, man, finally. This week, I'm hoping it's getting a little warmer where you are. And we're here to learn about ways you can take Google Classroom further. You know, you may have shared a video before, you may have shared some handouts or some slide presentations, but what else can we do to take learning further? So we're going to look at several of those ways. I'm going to share with you a resource here today that will help in that regard, okay? And so I'm going to type it in the text chat. I'm really hoping that this thing turns into a hyperlink in the text chat. Or you can just type it in. It's bit.ly/GC-further. If you want to have this open while we go or afterwards, kind of a digital takeaway. There are 10 things that are in this resource anyways, and actually a bonus one that I added. I don't know if anybody is, I don't imagine that you are tuning into this session the second time. I've done this session, I think 3 times now. This might be the 4th. And I've added something brand new as a little bonus at the end. And so there are 10 plus 1 ways to, or probably 100 plus 1 ways to take Google Classroom further, but we're going to kind of focus on 10, and we're just going to sort of uncover a little bit. We'll probably look at in depth at maybe 5 today, but there are some links and resources for more things on there. And so we're building your awareness, building your skills. If you would like to follow along and try these things as we go, as I said, you can hit that bit.ly link. I see there are a few people here right now on this slide deck. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 others. So if you'd like to join this, once again, that was bit.ly/GC-further. And I don't know, is that link working in the group chat? Is it showing up as a hyperlink? I know there were some issues with people trying to copy some text from the group chat and paste it, but I think if it is a hyperlink and you click on it, it should work. I've got some more links to some other things in this document, hyperlinked in here, okay? So you may not have to go to the group chat. If you hop into these slides, you'll see some of those things hyperlinked right in the slides as well. What you may notice on slide 3, another alternative to having this in slide deck form, there is sort of a digital magazine format of this particular thing. 10 practical ways to enhance student-centered learning. So you can check that out as well. This is on the Edmonton Catholic School Division Education Technology website. So wonderful website. I used to work with Edmonton Catholic Schools up until last December, and I made this. So if you would like this in sort of a PDF format, you're welcome to check that out instead. But we are going to hop into several different ways. You can't see the group chat. All right. You were typing in it, Ashley. So this is the group chat. So if you just mouse over the bottom portion of your screen, you should be able to see a button that says chat. And then none of the links are live. Can't click on them. Okay, interesting. In the group chat. So there is just that one, the bit.ly/GC-further. Okay, so if you want then, Wendy, you can just type in your web browser in the new tab, bit.ly/GC-further. That's up to you, but that is a way of staying connected. You can alternatively just watch, that's okay. But there'll be, let's see, can't click on anything. Will I be recording this meeting? be sending it out to the participants. I won't be sending it out to the participants per se, because I don't, there isn't an official registration for this. People are just clicking on the link, so I don't actually know who's here. And so what I am doing is recording it though. Here, I'll type my email. Drop me an email, and I will definitely email it to you. However, if you have seen this Google Doc, you will see as soon as the session is done, fairly soon after the session is done, you'll see another link after this, say recording. So this little link right here, right at the top, will give you some of the archive sessions from this past week. It just jumps down to a further part below. So you'll see something like this webinar recording view link. That's where you'll see that for these sessions this week, but there's also last week's archive sessions. All right. So with that, let's jump in, everyone. Everybody good to go? Anybody still need this short bit.ly link? All right, so let's jump into the first one. And the first thing I'd suggest for you today that you're using Google Classroom for is sharing links. Now in Google Classroom, when we go into a Google Classroom, you do have that stream portion. Oh, I'm sending messages to the waiting room. Thank you, Ken. Let's try that link again. GC-further. All right, now everybody should be able to see it. I don't know if it's a hyperlinkable and everyone able to see it. So that's great. And my email address, daniel.moss@ata.ab.ca. All right, that was a bit of a fail. Not great. It is a Monday. Thanks for the heads up, Ken. All right, so we see our Google Classroom. We have this stream area. You can share stuff in the stream. However, some people find that this stream gets long and it gets a little bit confusing. A lot of people prefer to share stuff through this classwork section, and where you have kind of organized topics that you can create. So when you go create, you can create a whole bunch of topics, anything from topics like subject areas to things like your weekly video messages or various other things. Some people have it organized by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There are lots of ways to create these topics. And just posting things in here is certainly a great way. Now, I want to highlight something to you. For those of you who have the Share to Google Classroom extension, I'm going to paste the link. Can anyone verify this link in the group chat? Is it a hyperlink or is it not a hyperlink now? If it's not, I'm just going to paste it in the slides. Just on slide 6 in the speaker notes. Yes, it is. Okay, good. For those of you who can get it there, great. For those of you who can't, if you're on the slide deck here with me, slide 6. So share to Google Classroom. Is anyone using this tool, Share to Google Classroom, this extension? It's an extension that when you install, it shows right up in your web browser at the top right portion of your Chrome web browser. So what this does is, let me share with you, let's say we wanted very quickly and easily, we're getting prepared for the week, we're getting prepared for some student work to post to Google Classroom. There's a nice, lovely little shortcut here using this Share to Google Classroom. Now let me share with you, if you haven't seen the ATA Library website, I love it. And the reason why I love the ATA Library is because for those of you who love the tolearn.ca days, that website is no longer. However, in their final year of operation, year and a half or so of operation, they joined ATA. We brought them into our ATA. And so with that in mind, what we did was we have all consolidated all of their subject guides, topic guides, and seasonal guides into ATA. So if you're looking for great subject area websites, just when you get into ATA Library, go to those subject guides. So let's say I want to very quickly and easily get some of these things onto my Google Classroom. All right, so here is the science grade 6, K to 6, for example. And it is aligned to the Alberta curriculum, which is lovely. So I'm going to go into grade 6. And let's go with Sky Science. So let's say we wanted to see in Sky Science, let's see what would be a good website to share. Let's go with something Phases of the Moon. All right, so let's say I load up this Phases of the Moon website, and I think that I really want to publish this onto my Google Classroom. Well, with the Share to Google Classroom extension, it becomes very, very easy. So right here at the very top, once it's installed, you click on it, and while it's very easy to it's very easy in class when you have your Chromebooks to push live websites to students, to their Chromebooks live, what we would do is we would, instead of, let me just open this one up from scratch again. We would pick a Google Classroom. So I'm going to say Sample Distance Learning Classroom. And then we can choose to create an assignment with it. Maybe we're going to ask a question with it. Maybe we're going to make an announcement. So I will just say create an assignment. And I'll put it in here and I'll say, watch the animations on this website and send back 3 key ideas in a Google Doc from the website that you learned. Not the greatest prompt, but let's imagine it was pretty good. All right, so what I can do right there is I can hit the assign button, and right from here, without even having to go into my Google Classroom, I've now saved a bunch of time just by putting that right into an assignment. And by the way, in your Google Classroom, a tip I like to share is instead of just assigning things straight away, you can do a thing called schedule these posts, okay? Because you might want to work ahead. You might not want students to see this website quite yet. Maybe you want to wait till midweek or next week. You want to work ahead a little bit. You can hit the schedule button and then pick the exact date and time that it's going to show up on your website. That's just not a feature of this Google Share to Google Classroom tool. This is part of Google Classroom, period. So look for that schedule feature instead of just posting stuff right away. That'll give you an option to then schedule it. But I'm just going to go ahead and hit assign. And there it is. So if I go back into my Google Classroom, there it is right there. It's now on my Google Classroom, and just from that website itself, all I did was I looked for that Share to Google Classroom, and then I was able to pick what I wanted to do with it. And in this case, I chose to create an assignment with it. So is anybody using the Share to Google Classroom tool? By the way, as I mentioned, when you are in with students, this is actually can also be used if you're doing live instruction with students through something like a Google Meet or Microsoft Teams or Zoom. If you're live with students and they're signed into their Chrome browser, you can go push to students and then hit push, and it's automatically going to push it out. It will load itself up in a new tab in your students' browsers. So that is kind of interesting. It kind of freaks people out if they're not in the room. So use that one if you want to mess with kids. Kidding, we wouldn't want to mess with kids, but if you're doing live instruction, it might make sense for you to do that. Now again, they would have to be signed into the Chrome browser on their device for that to work. And they might actually have to have this extension installed. And I know some school divisions push this extension out to all students. But regardless of that, the live push, it is absolutely something that you can do to save yourself a little bit of time. Just by going straight from that website to turn it into an assignment, a question, or an announcement, okay? And then it can get published right on your website. Okay, let's move on. I love the literacy features that are built into tools like Google Docs and supports for not only for language arts, but also for content literacy. And so we'll take a quick look here. I do a whole session on this, and I've got something, geez, I want to say it's Wednesday, or maybe it's Tuesday evening. Nope, it's not. It is Wednesday evening, yeah, 7 until 8, there's a session, Literacy and Assistive Technology Supports for Students with Google Docs and Read and Write. So that one's coming, but for today, we're just gonna touch on a couple of those features, okay? So if you are in this shared slides, and don't worry if you're not, I'll give you the link. There is a link on slide 9 that says Sample Google Doc. But when you click it, it will prompt you to make your own copy of this document. So I encourage you to do that now, and I'll share it with the people in this group chat. If you'd like to, hit that and make your own copy. I'm going to choose make my own copy. And this will load up a sample Google Doc that I've started in here just to show a couple of these literacy supports that are built in. So we won't look at all of these today. We'll just look at a couple. How's that going for everybody? Is the link working in the group chat? Were you able to get it off of the slides? If you'd like to try this along with me, you can click that link. If you don't want to, don't worry about it. Thank you very much for the feedback, everybody. All right, work from the slides, that's great. So what I'm going to first highlight is a really lovely feature that can help students get some text onto the page with their voice. It's not perfect. It doesn't just by itself put things like capital letters or punctuation, but it is a good way of getting text onto the page, and it can reduce some of those barriers for students. Yeah, so if you just click on it, Paul, is it blue and underlined in your group chat, Paul? If it is, then you can just click on it. But if it's not, then you can, it's black. Yeah, same in mine, Paul. So are you in those slides by chance? If you're in the slides, you can look to slide 9. And if you're not in the slides, Paul, I'll tell you what to type in your browser if you want, or you can just watch. It's up to you. You can just type that bit.ly/gc-further. Let me just type it in the group chat. Yeah, copy and paste isn't working in the group chat for some reason. Can't copy and paste the URLs. I don't know, or things out of the group chat for some reason. I'm going to see if I can fix that in the settings, but I don't know if that's a safety feature, security feature. But what you can do, Paul, is you can type in open in a new tab, type in bit. Oh, good, slide 9, wonderful. All right, so we are in this sample Google Doc, and I'm just going to click below number 2 there where we've got some open space and go to the Tools menu and voice typing. Now what this will do, this will pop open a little microphone button there, and the first time you try it, Chrome is going to say, hey, can we use your microphone? And you'll say, allow. But watch what it does when I click it. This is the voice typing tool in Google Docs, period. It is very accurate, and you do not have to train the microphone like you did with Dragon Dictation many years ago, exclamation mark, new paragraph. So you got to hit it again to stop. And so it takes a little bit of practice, but it is a way. Notice that I did say new line. I did say period. I did say exclamation mark. I said new paragraph. So you are able to take advantage of those things. There are some additional voice commands in addition to just talking. And it's very accurate for capturing your voice. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. And notice that this works. You hit the little down arrow next to English. This works in about 80 languages or more. So it is very accurate. So it is very cool, a great way to get some text on the page, and then students could then go clean it up a little bit. But if it's a huge barrier for kids to be typing that out for whatever reason, that's certainly an option that they have. All right, I'm going to focus also on 2 aspects of bringing images onto Google Docs. I'm going to go find a little open space, and then I'm going to go insert image. Okay, everybody with me? Insert image, and then go from search the web, which is your second choice. So insert image, search the web. And what that's going to do is pop open an awesome image search tool right in the Google Doc. Now, the best part about this is that all the images we search for are copyright free. This is a Google for Education tool, so all these pictures are copyright free, so it's a lovely feature to be able to use. So we can just select a picture and hit insert. It's going to be a pretty big picture. So most kids are familiar when you click on a picture, how I can use those little dots in the corner to resize. Or I can use a little curvy circle, or the little circle right above the picture, to then rotate that picture if I wanted to, right? Undo. So use that image search. It's a really handy way of getting in some great pictures to supplement learning. So students, we can teach students how to do this. We can do this as well with our Google Docs, resting assured that it is copyright free, that image. Now, another lovely, lovely reason, I'm going to just delete that picture of that cat. Sorry, kitty. Another really lovely feature of the insert image is you may have your students doing some work on paper, some real writing, or maybe they're drawing something. Maybe it's a map. Maybe it is a story diagram. Lots and lots of reasons why we would want students to still work in paper. And what we can do with Google Docs, whether it's a math problem they're working on or a science diagram or who knows what, we can have them bring in that paper in digitized form into a Google Doc. And then they can write about it in Google Docs some more if they want. Okay, so let's do that. Insert image, and this time we're going to choose camera. So it would be a requirement that they would have a webcam like this, like we have on our laptops or computers, Chromebooks. So that would be a requirement. I'm just going to turn off my video here in Zoom just so you can see what this looks like. Insert image, camera. This is a handy way. It's going to open up the camera. And again, if you haven't done this before, Chrome will ask your permission. So then you just hold up whatever it is you want to bring in. Okay, hit the little camera button. And by the way, if you can't reach that camera button, don't worry about it. Just hit the space bar on your computer is also a camera shutter. Okay. Now it's not perfect like a PDF scanner, but this is meant for something where you wouldn't need a crazy amount of detail on that. So I pick which picture I want to bring in. I hit insert, and there it is. I can resize it. And by the way, if you want to, let me just start my video again. If you want to know how to trim off those little edges of that picture that you don't want, that tool is called the cropping tool. Okay, see this little crop button right here? So I'm going to just click that and choose crop. Alternatively, I can just double click on a picture. Okay, double click. Now I've got these little black handles on the corners and the sides, and I can trim away parts of the picture that I don't want. So very quickly now I can bring in some stuff, whether it's an illustration or a piece of a sentence that a student has written, or anything else that's done on paper that you would like to bring in a digital way onto this Google Doc. So it's a very handy way of doing that. Any questions about that? Just deleted that one. Can the students speak into this and have their work posted in a Google Doc? So yeah, absolutely. The student can use the tools, the voice typing, and they can speak into it. Or do you mean the microphone? Can the student use the microphone, have like an audio recording? Is that what you meant? So that is possible through the read and write toolbar. And I won't spend a whole lot of time on this right now, but if you have the read and write toolbar, there's that purple puzzle piece. If you've seen the read and write toolbar, the student can just highlight anything, hit this voice note, and they can record an audio recording. So I'm going to highlight that more in the different session on, but if you're talking about, yeah, for students to have poor typing skills, yeah, absolutely. That is the beauty of this voice typing tool. So under tools, voice typing, they just hit this microphone, they talk away, and it just brings in all of the text that they're saying. They'll have to clean it up a little bit with punctuation, etc., capitalization, that kind of thing, but it works very, very well. So that's a good tool to teach students, possibly even parents, to help students, but it's also good for you to know. All right. Now I want to scroll down here and show you another lovely feature that I really love in a Google Doc, and that is the Explore tool. Now I have put a table in here. Let's say we're going to do some research on parts of a plant, grade 4 science. Okay, see how I've set up this table? I've just done that by going insert table, and I've put in the proper dimensions that I want, and I filled it in with a little bit of stuff. But what I want to focus you on is the kind of the research tool that's built into Google Docs and Google Slides called Explore. It's in the lower right-hand corner. It looks like a little kind of a cross, little compass. If you click it, it opens up this window on the right side. Everybody seeing that? It's also in the Tools menu. And so if I go Tools, Explore, it's also there too. Now, let's say I want to find some websites and some images for parts of a plant. So I'm just going to go in the upper right-hand corner. Can I show where I got that again? Yeah, absolutely. So that icon is in the lower right-hand corner of every Google Doc. It's also in every Google Slides too. And it's a little, it looks just like a little compass icon, a gray compass icon in the lower right corner. And when I hover over it, it says Explore. But it's also in the Tools menu. Tools, Explore, okay, Explore. So once we click that open, it opens up that sidebar on the right-hand side. Now watch what I can type. I'm going to type in plant stem. I want to do a little bit of research with my students. My students are going to do some research on different parts of a plant. We want to find good websites to learn from. We want to find some good pictures. So I'm going to say plant stem. So check it out. I've got a whole bunch of websites here. And let's say I click on one of those. It'll open it up in a new window. And let's say this is a really great website that I want to share with my fellow students, or I want to do as part of my research. So if I'm back in here, here was that STEM website, plant stem. Watch what you can do with this. Okay, everybody, watch my screen for a moment. Okay, this is really easy to do. And if you just watch it, you'll be able to do it yourself as well. Now, what I want to do is I want to get this link right here over right here into this box. Okay, and all you need to do is just click and drag on it, and then just let it go where you see that blue cursor in the website. Does that make sense? Now watch this. Before you leave and try that yourself, watch the second part of this. Every time I mouse over one of these sources here, I see this little quotation mark thing, and it gives me an option to cite it as a footnote. Watch this, everybody. I'm going to click that, boom. There's my little number one, and look at that. Right at the bottom of the screen now, it's put a footnote citing the source. Okay? Now, what we did once again was we went over to the link, and we dragged that link into the box where we wanted it, and then we went to the cite a footnote, and it put a little number one. The next time I do this, it would be a number two, and then it would put all that citation at the bottom of that page. So it's a really handy way, even for kids, even kids who are fairly young, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4. It's not too early to teach them. We can give credit to sources of things on the internet. Yeah, you are correct, Ken. It is a safe search in here for the students. Now let's look over at the images. Is everybody good so far? Does that make sense in terms of that process, what I did here? So once again, I just put my mouse over top of that link and I dragged it into the box where I wanted it. And then I was able to hit the source. And if I go right to the top of these search results, see the little Google symbol, web results, 3 dots? I can change it from MLA to APA to Chicago, okay? If that matters. It probably wouldn't for most people, but just in case it does matter to you. Now watch this with images, same thing. Here are some images of plant stems, and this time I want to drag it into this box right here. that says a picture for a plant stem, okay? So what I can do is when I have the picture I want, I just drag and drop. And it will resize itself. The picture will resize to the width of the column. Now that's really handy. You may have seen or experienced yourself in things like Microsoft Word. When you put in a big picture into a table, it just kind of blows the table up. So this one just resizes it nicely. So those are a couple of handy tools in Google Docs to organize some of that content literacy. Use these tables to organize some of that content. We've got other things in here too. We didn't even look at inserting the drawing. If you're curious about that, try out that insert drawing and go new. And you've got a whole, it's almost like a paint program in here where you can add in text and pictures and shapes and all sorts of stuff. And then you can insert it into your Google Doc and draw and write and talk about it. So again, we're going to cover that more on Wednesday evening in greater depth. You can come back if you like doing the evening sessions. It's from 7 until 8 p.m. tomorrow night. If not, you can tune back for the we actually have archived recording sessions of that I did last week that you could look at, or you could just hit me up with an email and say, hey, how do you do the drawing piece again? Can you show me that? And I'll just send you a quick screen recording. Okay, so that is it for Google Docs. I'm going to leave that one alone for now. I'm just going to X out of that and go back to my slides. So and I've got in slide 10, it talks a little bit about the voice typing, and slide 11 talks about that Record Explore tool. And for those of you who were curious about the Read and Write tool, the division that I just used to work with, Edmonton Catholic, created a lovely website that to share with parents, students, or even just for yourself to learn about that Read and Write toolbar and what all those buttons do and how they work. So there's some great tutorials on here, videos, examples of use, so you can check out that. That is bit.ly/ECSD Read and Write, AND. So it's on slide 12 if you're curious. Okay, moving on, there's a couple of some other things we're going to try out together here. One of them is collaborative Google Slides. Now, whether you want to do this as a whole group on one set of slides or not, having that slides as sort of a digital canvas is a really awesome way to go beyond just slide presentations with Google Slides. There's so much great multimedia you can put in there, and I'm going to do a session at 1 o'clock today that talks not only about how to do that right here within Google Slides, but using some other, in addition to a whole bunch of free templates that you can use. Also a wonderful tool called Pear Deck that is now free until June, where you can sort of guide kids through some guided slide activities where they can respond right on the slide. Some very cool. It's very easy to set up too. Just have to try it out. Anyhow, let's go to the sample, slide 14, sample math manipulatives activity. Now, if you click on that blue thing there, that blue rectangle, and hit copy of sample math manipulatives, that will open up, and I'll give you the link for those of you who want it in the group chat. Otherwise, you'll need to be in the slides if your hyperlink isn't working. This says sample math manipulatives activity. Now, what this is going to do is, if you click on that, it's going to bring all of us who click on it into one Google Slides. This is a great way for kids learning with each other and sharing with each other in real time. Can it go wrong? Yes, it can. Students can delete each other's stuff accidentally or on purpose, depending on your group of kids. So just to go back from that, this was slide 14, and you can see if you click on that blue rectangle for sample math manipulatives activity, or right in the slide notes, there's also another link to it. You'll see this load up. And just this one is a pretty big slide deck here. I see there are 8, 9 of us in here so far. Oh, wow, some people are giving her already. You can see in this sample activity, it's kind of a, whether it's funny or not, whether you get my sense of humor or not, I don't mean to offend you. Just a sample activity, how much money have you spent in the past year? So just as a joke. So what you could do for this one is go to any open slide. And I don't know, the way you can tell if they're open slides is you can see other people's colorful icons on a slide, then go to a different one. And what you can do now, let me just go to slide 4. I see some people on here. I see 4 people on here actually. So some of you might want to choose a different slide if you're on slide 4. But what you can do now is you can drag and drop these hundreds, tens, and ones from the right side of that slide onto your screen. And so it's an interactive thing, and we can see students working together. And students could then talk to one another about these things. Now, notice as we're working through this, all right, more and more people are hopping onto these slides. So I'll just give you a chance to hop in here. Go scroll down a bit until there is an open slide. I see slide 10 is open, slide 11 is open, anything 14, 15, 14 and beyond, most of it is open. So you can hop into a slide there if you wish to. And what it will let you do, as you can see here, is you can just, everybody can be working on these slides at the same slide at the same time. So this is good. These collaborative slides are good for individual work. Each individual student gets a slide, or you can even assign small groups where 2 or 3 or 4 people could be working on the slides, whether it's math manipulatives or whether they're typing in a group response to a social studies debate question, or whether it's any other thing that you want students to be able to add stuff to a slide. It can be a great kind of a digital canvas for them to work with. So whether you like the idea of all students working together on one thing, or each student having their own copy and not able to see their own stuff, but then not having students be able to mess each other's stuff up, it's really a matter of personal preference. But I just want to show you what this possibility was. Now, before we leave these collaborative slides, I want you to notice this as well. Look in your Google Slides at the bottom left-hand corner. Right now we are in film strip view, which is your classic slides view. You've got one big slide here and all the little versions of it on the left. There's another view called grid view, where I can click on that grid and I can zoom in and zoom out. And what you can do on this particular view is you can zoom in, you can see kids working in real time. So on my screen, I can see a whole bunch. I can see Shelly, I can see Becky and Nicole, I can see Amanda, I can see a whole bunch of people working at the same time. So as they're dragging stuff around, typing on the boxes, moving things, I can kind of see that work in real time. And that is that. How did I get the grid view? Go to the bottom left-hand corner of the Google Slides and switch it from that film strip view. Just there's a button immediately to the right that looks like 6 little squares. And if you click it, you too can switch to grid view. Now, the other thing we can do here is how students learn from each other. So what you can do is go over to someone else's slides. Now, this is where I set the ground rules with kids. One rule of working in collaborative slides is don't mess with anybody else's slide. Anything on the slide, don't mess with it. So how can we communicate or give feedback? Well, one way is through the comments. I'm going to go to slide. Shelly, if you don't mind, I'm going to pick on your slide. I'm going to go to slide 4. And right at the top of the screen in these toolbars, there is a button for comments. Okay, comments. It looks like a black kind of a speech bubble with a plus in it. Now, if I click that on Shelly's slide, it will pop open a comment thing. You see it? It'll pop it open to the right. So I can say, I would give her some feedback. Great work, Shelly. Now, that's not a great piece of feedback. We want something usually more specific. But when I hit comment, what you'll notice are 2 things. So if you're on this Google slide deck, notice one of 2 things. Notice both things, actually. On slide 4, her comment, or the comment that I left her, is to the right of her slide. There it is in the kind of upper right-hand corner. You'll also look at that film strip view. If you're on the film strip view, do you see slide 4? You see the little number 1 in the left margin there? That shows how many comments are on that slide. Now, Shelley could come back and click on my comment and even give me a reply if she felt like it. So it can be a back and forth conversation. So this is way when I do have kids working in collaborative slides, no, we can't mess with anything on anyone else's slide. However, oh good, there's Shelley, give a nice feedback. Hey, she made my day. Okay, that's awesome. And now we've got a threaded conversation. We can go back and forth here. So this works really well for things like opinions, where we have groups or individuals writing an opinion on a slide and different people can debate back and forth. Now we have to teach students the appropriate way to comment, not to be too harsh to one another, but also to give real constructive feedback. And so that has nothing to do with the technology, but that is something you definitely want to teach kids if you haven't already. Some people use that 2 stars and a wish, or framing it in such a way, even constructive comments that are kind and not mean or baseless or emotional. So we can be positive, but we can also challenge each other's ideas in a respectful way, and we can model that. And so that's an option you have. So some people are like, oh, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want all kids on one slide deck here. I don't know if I want them to be commenting to each other. No worries. It's just an option. And regardless, if you prefer to just give a copy for each student, that is no problem. Now, how did I do this in Google Classroom? Well, I'm going to take a moment to just show you now how you can give this type of activity to students, okay? So I'm going to go into my Google Classroom. I'm in a particular Google Classroom, okay, and I've gone to the classwork section. I'm going to create an assignment. Okay, this assignment piece is important, so it would have to be an assignment. And I'll just call it Math Manipulatives. Now, the important part here is getting your slide deck from Google Drive. So I'm going to click Add, the little paperclip icon, Add from Drive. And then I will have had this slide deck ready to go. Okay, but there it is. It'll always show up the most recent thing that you worked on. So if you're ready to share something with students in Google Classroom, you're going to click on it and hit Add. Now, you decide at this point, do you want all the students working collaboratively on this? Or do you want to give a copy to each student? So one option is just, right now, all they can do is view it. So I have to change it. If you want all students working together, go Students Can Edit File. Now, that's what I did with this collaborative slides. And that's why you are all able to edit. I don't have to go to the share features or anything else anymore. It just does all that sharing right here in Google Classroom. Students Can Edit means everybody can edit one file. Make a copy for each student. Well, now they can't work together, but they each do get their own copy of that particular template to work on. And it also puts their name on it, which is really super handy. Now you can kind of game the system and have small groups if you really want to. And if that sounds too confusing for you, don't worry about it. You don't have to do this. But what I want you to see is this Students Can Edit. Let's say I wanted just 5 students to a group of 5. So I kind of want to do half and half. I don't want the whole class on this one Google slide, maybe just 5 kids. In my assignment, right here in the upper right-hand corner, by default, it's going to go to one Google Classroom that you're in, and it's going to go to all students. But if you hit the down arrow there, you can uncheck that and then just check a handful of students you want this assignment to go to. Okay, so if I were to make this go to just uncheck this and make it go to 5 students, okay, and hit assign, do I have to start from scratch and do this whole thing from scratch again to get it to the next 5 and the next 5 and the next 5? No, I don't. I can reuse that post and choose the next 5 and leave everything the same way. Here's how to do that. Let's say create, and this time I'm going to go reuse post. This is magic, people. If you haven't tried this before, create and reuse post. You're going to pick that, say which Google Classroom it was in that particular assignment. Okay, when this thing loads up here, come on, we don't have much time, Google Classroom, only 12 minutes left in this session. Please, you were kind, you were good, you were nice. I respect my Google overlords. well, whatever, this is taking a little bit longer to load up, but you would just select that assignment, and then instead of giving it to your whole class again, you would just choose the next 5 students, and then the next 5, and then the next 5. And that you just reuse post each time, and that's how you do the collaborative group work. So I'm just going to leave this at this point because I've got a couple more things and some great resources to share with you. So Paul asks, if you have a 5-slide document, can you just make 1 or 2 slides collaborative? Ooh, not that I'm aware of. So you would have to just create a version of that. You could go into that 5-slide document and go, I see what you're saying. You assign kids to particular slides. Not that I'm aware of. But it's very easy if you do have a collection of student work to then go into any other slides. You can select 2 or 3 slides and then just Control-C copy slides and just go into your master Google Slides later on, and just anywhere in your other slide deck, hit paste, and those slides would be copied and pasted over from the previous student work. So let's see, group 1, group 2, yeah, you absolutely. Yep, that's exactly right, Kimball. That's exactly right. So we are just instead in Google Classroom, instead of assigning that, you still give it students can edit, but then just choose a handful of students, call it group 1, and then, oh, you could do that. You could just do the assignment, have all the kids see all the group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, group 5. Yeah, you could do that. Add that same file in 5 different times or 5 different Google Slides. Maybe you made a group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could certainly do that too instead of doing the reuse post. So whatever works best for you, that is certainly an option for you. Okay, where are we at? Okay, so I want to share with you before we go a couple of different things. One is some great, incredible slide templates. Now I'm going to go in much greater depth with this afternoon at 1 o'clock for the Google Slides session, but I do want to share with you the amazing website that Darren Maltese and the fine people at Black Gold School Division have created called Engaging Students. Now, if you like the idea of using these Google Slides or things like Google Drawings as templates that a student gets a copy of to work on, or groups of students get collaborative copies to work on, this is an awesome, awesome place to come. And you can see in my slide deck here, if we scroll down to slide 36, that's where, in case you're not seeing this hyperlinking in the group chat, the Engaging Students website, you can also just do a Google search for Black Gold Engaging Students. So check out some of these shared Google resources on here. Thank you again, Darren Maltese, and to the staff and teachers at Black Gold School Division. I know he's collected these from numerous sources. Also, his friend and my friend, Trish Rofi from Edmonton Catholic Schools, has contributed a lot of these templates in here as well, or at least some of them. So if I wanted to, for example, this is one Trish has created. Here's a Google Drawings one. And this is a magazine cover. So this could easily, I've seen magazine covers done in Google Slides, Google Drawings. This is a sample. You think, wow, this is really cool. Anytime you see any of these templates, any of them, and you can go into the grade specific ones, there's math, there's social, there's language arts, there's graphic organizers, a whole bunch of stuff. Anytime you see something in here that you want, you go File, make a copy. Load up your loot bag, everybody. File, make a copy. They're sharing these on purpose. They want to share freely and openly. Absolutely. Natalie, I agree. These guys are awesome. They have freely shared. And on slide 36, while this thing is loading up, this copy of mine is loading up, on slide 36, I've also given you in the lower right-hand corner, this is Edmonton Catholic's one. And I've also linked to a resource that Edmonton Catholic created. And that was, those are some sample social media templates. So let's say in Google Slides or Google Drawings, you want kids to do sort of a fake Instagram post or a fake tweet. If this character from history were to have tweeted something based on this particular event in history, what would it have been? Or what would this character in our novel have said? So those are some various templates you can click on slide 36. So let's see here. let's go back to that, find that Google drawing again that we were looking at. So now in my Google Classroom, I've made a copy of that magazine template. Now in my Google Classroom, create, I'm in my classwork section, create assignment, all right? And I'm gonna draw from my Google Drive. And guess what? It's going to find all the things I've recently been working with. And there, what you should see load up. Come on, Google Classroom, are you struggling today, or is this my internet? I'm not sure. We're probably all just killing all the internet bandwidth in Alberta right now with how much work everybody is doing from home, and our students as well. So I would see that particular file here from my Google Drive. It would load it up from me. Let's try it one more time. Come on, like we're starting a car when it's minus 30. There we go. Now it's turning over. So there is that particular file, that magazine. I hit add, and I'm going to go make a copy for each student, right? So you're going to pull it from your Google Drive, those things you found on the Engaging Students website or the Edmonton Catholic one. Make a copy for each student. I'll just call it magazine. You can give them the instructions and so on, and then hit your assign button. Now, instead of assign, once again, I love that schedule feature, okay, such that it won't show up on your Google Classroom until you're ready. So I'm just gonna hit assign right now. Now, if you hadn't made your own copy of this and you've just seen this magazine cover, don't worry about it. It'll still show up as something you've recently viewed in your Google Drive. And then when you go to assign it, you're probably going to be, and when you hit the assign button, you're going to be getting a little warning message like this. It'll say, I can't attach this file. This isn't your file. Do you want to make your own copy? Yep. I'm going to hit copy, and now it'll work. Okay, so don't be alarmed when you see that little warning message. If you ever do see that warning message, if they can't make a copy, just choose the option that says copy, and now it's your copy in your Google Drive. Okay, and there you go. Now it gets posted to your Google Classroom, and Bob's your uncle. So before we go, we've got 4 minutes left. There are lots of other ways that you can, there's feedback tools, there's having kids submit their own work instead of you having to do a template every single time. But I want to go down to the bonus section here. Some of you like this idea of having the Bitmojis. Okay, what you need to do is first get the Bitmoji template, or sorry, Bitmoji app on your smartphone. You have to create an account or sign in with something, and then you're gonna have that first. Okay. Now, then what you can do is Alice Keeler. She's an educator from the States who's done lots and lots of great stuff with Google Classroom. And here is a great blog post where she shows how you can make your own customizable template or your own at the very top of your Google Classroom. So let's go into this one, for example. You see how I did this one here, where I made it with my Bitmoji and some other pictures and so on. You can do that in your own Google Classroom. It's very easy. And so how we do that is you click on this link in here for Alice Keeler. It was a 2017 blog post. Okay, I'm going to open it up. And it'll tell you how to do this. But what you can do is look just below where it says template. See where it says alicekeeler.com/GC header? Click on that. Now it's going to force you to make your own copy. Okay, so here's just this blank copy. Now, if you have the Bitmoji, a Bitmoji account already on your phone, you can then go to the Chrome Web Store, and I'll give you the link here, direct link. And I'll just type in Bitmoji. Don't get kids to do this, please. There are some inappropriate Bitmojis if you haven't seen this before. So do not get kids to make their own Bitmoji and put it on their work. I'm going to put this in the link here. I'll also put it on slide, where are we here? Slide 44. I'll put the link in there as well to the Chrome Web Store. That is for Bitmoji. So now I'm in right now, where am I? Here I am. Okay, so I'm in a Google Drawing. This is just a blank banner here. And now I'm going to go up to my Bitmoji. And if you don't remember all this, don't worry about it. Just fire me an email. I'll send you the instructions. Or you can look at it from Alice Keeler's site. So I'm just going to go pick this. Wow, just drag it right onto your drawing. Okay, resize it. Now the key to get this on your Google Classroom, everybody, it's our final step of the day. The key to getting this on your Google Classroom is you're in Google Drawings. What you're going to do is you're going to go File, Download, and you download it as either a JPEG or PNG. Okay, one of those two. We have to change it from a Google Drawing file. We have to download it as a picture file. Does that make sense? So PNG, I'm downloading it. You'll see it in the bottom left-hand corner here in a second. It's going to just whoop, it's going to download for us. Come on. Meanwhile, I'm going to go back to my Google Classroom that I want. There it is, it's down there. I'm going to go back to my Google Classroom that I want to change that particular banner. And look on the stream part of your Google Classroom. It's the final thing. It's 9:59. It's our last thing for the day. And the sample distance learning, what I'm going to look for on that stream is you can change the theme if you want, but I'm going to choose upload photo. Now see where it says drag photo here? Look in the bottom left. It had just downloaded. So I'm just going to drag and drop that picture photo. All right, there it is. Just going to resize it to be nice and big. Full size, and hit set class theme. And what you'll see is that particular Bitmoji thing that I had done in a Google Drawing is now on my Google Classroom. So once again, after I load up this template and make it exactly how I want with pictures, doesn't have to be Bitmojis, you can put whatever you want. Don't forget to go File, Download, PNG. So those are a few things, a few ways you can go further with Google Classroom. There are a lot of other ones there, and you can see links in that particular slide deck. And so we looked at a few of those today. We looked at sharing resources. We looked at some literacy features. We looked at collaborative slides. There are a whole bunch of things we didn't have time to dig into today, but I have been doing sessions on self-graded quizzes. If you could look into the archives from last week, you'll be able to see that. Some of those archive recordings from the self-graded quizzes in Google Forms. I'll be doing another session on feedback as well. Let's see when that session, I'll go in much greater depth in terms of giving students feedback. When am I doing that one? Yeah, Tuesday morning, tomorrow at 9, formative assessment and feedback practices with Google Classroom and Google Tools. So we will take a look at that one. We will look at a lot of those features, feedback tools in Google Docs and slides. We'll touch a little bit on the Google Forms quizzes and more. So I hope you enjoyed the session, and I hope you learned a couple new tricks at least. Thank you so much for joining today. And I know it was a fairly quick session. It was kind of a fast-paced session. So I apologize if it kind of threw anybody, if it was too fast. But really appreciate you participating today. I wish you a wonderful Monday and a wonderful week. If I do see you in more sessions later on this week, looking forward to that. And the links to those sessions, if you'd like. We've got a new kind of session that we're starting this week on our ATA professional development team. And that is I'll make a little plug for it before we end the session. It's called Connect Ed Chats. So today we're starting with Div 2. So if you know any Div 2 teachers who'd love to just come and connect with other educators for 30 minutes, we're going to be it's part of it is a kind of a wellness and just connecting with people who may be feeling isolated, but also it'll be people of similar grade levels just to be able to share, just talk, share. We have some prompts, some discussion prompts and questions for sharing ideas and make some connections and get to know some people. So it was very fast, Sandra, and I appreciate that, your patience. So it will be posted on this Google Doc here. And you'll be able to see it. There'll be a little, right after I hit the stop recording button, I'll put the view webinar link right here. And so that's where you'll be able to find it. And so you can find that on this Google Doc. Also, if you are wish to find it on our Facebook page, it's It's facebook.com. Even if you don't have a Facebook account, don't worry about it. You don't have to have a Facebook account to see our list of sessions. Just come on here, facebook.com/HEAPD. And then you'll see right below that first post, here it is. Here are our live sessions. You click on that document, and it'll show not only what's upcoming, but it'll also show what's been finished. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Ken Haxtell from Alberta Regional PD Consortia. Any final words to share with us, Ken? No worries if you don't.
Just another great session, Danny. I think everyone learned a lot of things that can help them with their work.